Salutations everyone, today we're going to be going over my analysis of shots fired to Wii U. There really wasn't much in Melee. Mewtwo King didn't drop a game and killed everybody. That's pretty much all I need to know about that. There weren't any other gods in there. But with Wii U, one of the most stacked tournaments in history. Probably next to Genesis, the most stacked tournament ever. And was really, really awesome. I think out of the more agreed upon, say, top dozen characters in the world, only 2 of them were missing. Zero, due to health concerns, and Void wasn't there either. So with this tournament, a tournament without Zero, these tournaments are very important when it comes to gauging the rest of the field. Not just because we know that it's not going to be Zero winning, but because Zero isn't the one sending people to losers bracket. So this way we really get to see more of how other players match up. Now with this tournament, was it going to be, it's like, is Nairo going to step up again and solidify that second place position after, maybe some slippage here or a lot of people losing faith in his stronghold of being the second best in the world next to Zero? Well, he did. He won. Nairo won, beating out Mr.R. In third place, we had Tweak, the former Bowser Jr. main, who is now switched over to Cloud and saw tremendous results. And then we have DeBuzz, of course, with another top 5 finish there with Rosalina and Luma in 4th place. And in 5th, we have Mewtwo King with the Cloud, ever improving on that Cloud. And also we had 9B Bayonetta. Bayonettas were a big thing. Bayonettas and Clouds really set the tone because you had to face a Bayonetta or a Cloud in order to get a good result in this tournament. And then we have Anti, who we know doesn't travel too much, but Anti with that Mario as well as with him Sheik, 7th place. K9's Bruce, Sheik, also 7th place. Then we had another Bayonetta in Salem, and then Ally, Renai finishing in 9th. In most people's top 5, Renai finishing tied for 9th. That was a big surprise and upset there. We had Rio with the Corrin, didn't bring out the Ike. Hyuga, Toon Link, 6WX, of course, with the Sonic, ESAM's Pikachu, MVD with the Diddy Kong, and a few other notables, in the top 18 and 25, respectively. We got to see Supergirl Kells as Sonic, John Numbers, Wii Fit Trainer, of course, Seabricks, Meta Knight. This was one hell of a tournament. So let's take a look at what Nairo had to do to win this tournament, because he had a lot on his plate. He had to do a lot to solidify that second place spot in the world. First off, in his top 32, he starts by 2-0ing Salem's Bayonetta, which we know Salem's been able to take out a lot of top people with that Bayonetta. A lot of people learning the Bayonetta matchup, and they had to learn fast if they wanted a good spot here in this tournament. And after 2-0ing Salem's Bayonetta, he 3-2'd K9 Bruce's Sheik, and then he had to 3-2 Mewtwo King's Cloud, thanks to some amazing SDI on Cloud's F Smash. That was one hell of a set. Could have gone either way. After taking out Mewtwo King's Cloud, he took down Tweak's Cloud 3-1. And then in winners, he lost 1-3 to Mr.R. That reset the bracket. And then he 3-1'd Mr.R. Sheik and won the tourney. And that was one hell of a thing. One hell of a thing. And then we had the 2 gatekeepers of Cloud, who both lost to Nairo and Mr.R, the number 1 and number 2 finishers. First time we have Mewtwo King. He 2-0'd 6WX's Sonic, 3-0'd 9B Sheik, and then he lost 2-3 to both Nairo and Mr.R. I mean, those were both super close sets, especially the one with Nairo, where it seemed like he didn't have that matchup, similar to how he was a few weeks ago when he went up against Mew Squared's Mewtwo, and he didn't have an answer. He didn't know that matchup. It kind of seemed like the same when it came to Nairo's Zero Suit after, not really having much experience outside of Nick Riddle's Zero Suit when it comes to, tournament play. But he brought it back real quick and ended up falling 2-3 to Nairo and the Zero Suit that tossed him to losers, and that's where he lost to Mr.R. Sheik 2-3. Speaking of Mr.R, he had one hell of a run back to get that second place. It was not an easy tournament for Mr.R, but boy did he come up big in some clutch situations. 2-1ing MVD's Diddy Kong, and then going sent to losers early by DeBuzz in a 1-3 set. Then he had to 3-2 Salem, 3-2 Anti, 3-2 Mewtwo King, and 3-2 Dabuzz for that salty run back, and then 3-1 Tweak to finally get back to face Nairo there in Grand Finals, and where that was just one hell of a run back for Mr. R, showing that he is indeed one of the top players after just taking names. He really took names in this tournament. Not as much as Tweak. Tweak was a freaking assassin. Tweak 2-0'd Renai's Villager. Now, Renai, as we said, finished 9th. In many people's top 3, top 5, you rarely see anyone putting Renai on the bottom, part of a top 10. But it comes into question, if Renai is as good as we thought he was after his performance at Genesis. Because we have heard from some people like Zero who say that, Cloud is a really good matchup against Villager. And then we saw, in Genesis, how Dabuzz was able to handle Renai a lot better than Zero's Sheik was. But Renai got 9th place. It was absolutely crazy because he lost 2-0 to Tweak, convincing, very, very convincing, and he got 3-0'd by 9B's Bayonetta. So it was definitely not Renai's best finish. We didn't really get to see much of the form that we saw him at Genesis. I don't know if this was an off day for him or if he had trouble learning the matchups of these 599 characters with Cloud and Bayonetta, just taking this tournament by storm. But hey, kudos to Tweak for dropping Bowser Jr. and picking up that Cloud just like Mewtwo King did. And then he 3-2'd Anti, and then he 3-1'd Dabuzz, and then, like Mewtwo King, only losing to Nairo and Mr. R, but instead of 2-3, like Mewtwo King did, he lost 1-3 to both of them. And it was one hell of a finish. Tweak won over a lot of fans and was just absolutely crazy in those matches, especially against Dabuzz and Renai. He had a bit of struggle against Anti, dual wielding those Sheik and Marios. Anti, of course, had that set against Ally, to see who the best Mario was, and he 3-1'd him. Wasn't really, a huge concern. Anti also 2-0'ing Esam, who had one of the worst finishes I think we've seen him have this year. Then he lost 2-3 to Tweak, and then he 3-1'd Ally, and then was eliminated by Mr. R 2-3. So another great showing by Anti, I think still showing that he is a top 10 player in the world. And then we have Dabuzz, still being Dabuzz, 2-0'ing Rios, Corrin. And I think we can rip Corrin's tournament chances after the 1.1.5 patch, which nerfed the fair up air, neutral special, and the counter. So I don't know if Ryo's going to go back to Ike. We did see a little bit of Ike in the tournament, but it was mostly sticking to Corrin, which we saw him having a lot of really good results with in Florida. And then Dabuzz 3-1'd Mr. R, and then he lost 1-3 to Tweak. Then he 3-2'd 9B, and then Mr. R with that salty run back. He got 2-3'd there. So, he was able to beat Mr. R, and then he lost to Mr. R. So, Dabuzz still going strong. He was pretty on point with a lot of those matches. Made a little bit of mistakes here and there, but still very, very solid performance. And then we have 9B, which was the best performing Bayonetta out there. We also, of course, had K9 Bruce out there, but 9B 2-1'ing Ally, and then losing 3-0 to Mewtwo King. Then he 3-1'd Renai, and then beat K9 Bruce 2-1, and then lost 2-3 to Dabuzz in a very, very close game. There was a lot of great matches there, especially when you had those Clouds and Bayonettas where, people didn't know the matchup particularly well. But hey, Bayonetta was definitely a force to be reckoned with, and we know a lot of other Bayonettas are out there. And when it comes to, Mr. R's performance, it really, brought back to that question, who's the second best Sheik? Is it Mr. R or Void? I think it's Void, and I think that, definitely kind of helped with Glitch last week, where Void beat Mr. R in Grand Finals doing those Sheik dittos. And that was a hell of a tournament as well. Pink Fresh's Bayonetta finishing 3rd, and a Robin, Daft's Robin finishing 4th, and a Duck Hunt as well. Just some great stuff. DC also had a Bayonetta. So Bayonettas and Clouds, you gotta watch out for them. People really have to start learning that, especially with up and comers like Tweak, which we knew was really good. The amount of results he was able to get out of Bowser Jr. just showed you how great this kid was, and the fact that he picked up Cloud so quick. and was able to just assassinate people. Tweak took out Renai, Anti, and Dabuz, only losing to the top 2 performers in Nairo and Mr. R. Same with Mewtwo King, who had real closer sets with Nairo and Mr. R than even Tweak did. And he also beat 9B's Bayonetta, who we know definitely took a lot of people down as well, including Ally, Renai, and K9 Bruce, and having a really close set against Dabuz. So it was a hell of a performance for a ton of people. Very, very exciting. On the doubles side of things, it was very, very interesting. We had Mr. R and Anti taking out Nairo and Tweak, and then Mewtwo King and Ally taking out Renai and 9B, and then Anti Mr. R 3-1ing Mewtwo King Ally, and then Mewtwo King Ally 3-2ing Nairo and Tweak, and then resetting the bracket 3-0 against Mr. R and Anti, and then 3-0ing in the reset bracket in Losers Grand. So that was some great stuff out of doubles there as well. Cannot wait to see more Wii U and see what Cloud and Bayonetta do to the metagame and these results. But hell, they still have to worry about Void and Zero because they were not in this tournament. And boy, is it an exciting time super early in the year for this game.